In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how DDP completely solves fighting in the bladed stance and what this means for a fighter like Ilia Topuria. Okay, now I've got probably like 100 clips to take a look at. We're going to take a look at a lot of clips, figure out a lot of patterns, figure out exactly what it is that Ilia Topuria does that makes him so successful, and see if it winds up being falling under a similar pattern of what happened, or the possibility of what happened to Sean Strickland could happen to him. Because if it does, all anyone has to do is study exactly what DDP did to Sean Strickland, and I'm going to show you here, to figure out how to beat Ilia Topuria. But let's take a look at what it was that DDP did. So first off, controlling the lead hand, right? As soon as Sean Strickland starts approaching the line, he starts sticking his hand out there to control that space so he can't be hit by the jab, which makes the rear hand so much more predictable, okay? Very, very common pattern here. And enough to keep Sean Strickland at home. Okay, and then when he immediately switches to orthodox, okay, he immediately starts catching that jab. Watch Sean Strickland's weight as he looks to take that little stepping jab with his jab here. He brings his weight to the line here. And again, DDP easily parrying that shot, meaning that Sean Strickland's going to have to make an attack, okay, onto DDP's line. Again, this is not free for him to do this big stepping jab. It's very difficult to do it this fast and this hard and to get value on this timing and all these things that are going on. But he's going to have to do that and then throw another punch, okay? It's not something that Sean Strickland's incapable of doing, okay? But it is very important to understand that that takes a lot of energy. Now, again, as Sean Strickland would get to the line, he's just going to be controlling that lead hand there, not allowing Sean Strickland again to get any value off of that first shot that he looks to interact with him with. Now, take a look at DDP. It doesn't even matter if Sean Strickland sticks his hand out. It doesn't matter. DDP just immediately looks to interact with that shot, whether it comes or not, because he knows that this is safer than trying to look cool and look like you didn't just get feinted. Okay, as the actual fighter, we understand that making sure that you never actually get hit, rather than looking cool, is more important, okay, to your overall overarching strategy than letting your opponent know, oh, I'm stressed by your jab. Now, parrying the shot here, okay, stepping in with the shot, and again, Sean Strickland has some bad habits with his punches. See how kind of has to take a step here. He gets stuck here, right? Now see how he gets stuck here on the front foot. Boom, he gets caught. This is exactly why his nose gets broken in the fourth round. But also, because he's controlling the jab, it makes it very, very easy. He's always ready for this timing to interact with this punch in this way. It makes it very easy for him to snap and follow it up with another shot. Okay. Now, again, Sean Strickland is a guy who fights in a bladed kind of stance. He fights on what I like to call the right side of the line. And he doesn't actually have the ability to be an MB turner, right? To actually fight on the left side of the line. Okay, this is very, very, very important. It's different than just being on the front foot or the back foot. Okay, what side of the line you are on is going to dictate what punches you can throw, what defenses you use, where you go from there, where you're going to move your weight next, and Sean Strickland winds up getting pinned down on the right side of the line, okay? And he can't actually make it to the left side of the line, DDP controlling the hand. And again, he's not even controlling it correctly. I just want to point out here, if your opponent is touching your lead hand here like this is one of the easiest ways for you to just go 1-2 and hit a guy, okay? You don't really want to be controlling and touching the lead hand with their lead hand, but you want to be doing something, right? But if your opponent gets in the habit of doing this one, you just shoot a 1-2 over it. They stick their lead hand out of here, and it's real easy to hit them. Okay, now, I don't want to say it's still easy, but again, Drickus showing, okay, now here, real quick, rear hand probe, one of the other things that Sean Strickland can kind of do kind of well. I just wanted to include this clip here as he's pivoting on the front foot. This is not really a move that Ilia Topuria does super well. We're going to take a look at some other stuff, but this is one of those moves that dichotomizes them, that separates them. He can kind of throw this shot here sometimes. Okay, but most of the time he gets stuck on the right side of the line, and if he's going to throw a rear hand like that, he's going to cross, and it makes it very, very obvious. Now, again, DDP just looking to smother that lead hand and then make an attack, not allow Sean Strickland to use the momentum, as you can see him driving from the ground here, coming up, looking to bring his way to the line. All he has to do is stifle that just a little bit and then make an attack on his line, okay? Again, doing that over and over and over again, just not allowing him to have free access to his face, right? Again, batting that away as he looks to get off the line there, and then create some space. But Sean Strickland, because he can't really fight off on the other side of the line, he's not the guy. In that clip where he threw the rear hand probe, he had to wait for Dricus to cross the line for him. Okay. And again, it's very, very important to understand that it winds up being a kind of incidental thing for Strickland as his opponent moves into that position, against controlling the lead hand, again, not allowing the bladed style fighter to get on the line here. Now, again, take a look at the timing here. He's touching the lead hand, touch the lead hand, and then now on the same beat, he thinks it's going to be a touch of the lead hand, and he tries to turn it into a kick here. Okay, again, just easily dominating Sean Strickland on the line, because Sean Strickland has basically only one way to get on the line. Now, a little bit of Russian parry style right there. We can see DDP trying to grab it with the lead hand and saying, okay, can I do anything with that? Okay, so we'll see him probably turn that into the Russian parry in a little bit. But again, very, very easy to control Sean Strickland, not allowing him to get any real work, even off the double jab here, and then following it up with a little leg kick. Again, easily catching those shots, making it very easy to see the rear hand coming. And as soon as Sean Strickland stops putting any effort into the line, it's easy to catch him. One of the reasons, because he gets stuck on the front foot. He doesn't have a completed stepping jab overall. He doesn't get on the line with his jab and then off the line. He kind of just stays there and drifts. But if you're going to stay on the line after throwing a stepping jab at your opponent, you already connected, you already scored. Now you have to make sure that your opponent doesn't score unless you're going to follow up. But if you're not going to follow up, you want to make sure that your opponent's not going to score. So you do that by getting off the line and getting back to that range. Right? So he just winds up jumping onto the line, throwing a stepping jab, and then getting punched in the face a bunch. Right? Again, one of those biggest flaws with the bladed stance. Right? Now, again, all of his attacks, because he starts on the right side of the line, they all have to start with the left shoulder. Right? He doesn't have an opportunity. And as we see here, DDP doesn't even care. He's not even... DDP is not even... He doesn't even care that Sean Strickland is not attacking. He jumps straight on the line here and just immediately starts grabbing at Sean Strickland's hand to prevent him from being able to throw that stepping jab at him, and then starts flooding the line with punches. Again, because of the fact that Sean Strickland gets stuck in the bladed stance, because he always has his left shoulder forward, he's not changing positions, he has a very difficult time exploding into his rear hand. A very, very difficult time actually fighting off the front foot and changing into what I call position one. Okay, I teach combat on the left leg and on the right leg. On the left leg is position one, and on the right leg is position two. And Sean Strickland not only doesn't usually fight as a predominantly left leg or front foot fighter, but he doesn't fight on the left side of the line either. He's a right side of the line, very if you were headshots only with a guy, right? And then the guy was just always smaller than you, right? And then you just wind up just with the Philly shell-ish thing, because you don't have to put that much effort into your defense because everyone's smaller than you, right? A little bit of what I call tall man's guard from Sean Strickland, right? But he completely fights out of that position. He never really opens up. He relies primarily, I think, on the ring being cut off. And DDP actually did a very, very good job in this fight of circling and getting around his opponents. Now, again, doesn't even care that Sean Strickland's not attacking. He just looks to cover that arm and then start kicking him, start attacking him. And again, parrying that shot, ready to interact with that jab, not allowing him to get any... Don't mind me, guys. That was a little video for some students. Again, trying to control that lead hand, and again, just as long as Sean Strickland's getting to the line like there, he can't really interact with him, right? And again, getting to the line here, parrying that shot easily, kicking him in the leg. Again, the only other move that he's going to be making usually is off that stepping jab is a right hand, and if he's not letting that shot go, right, it's only round one, he does eventually, and we're going to take a look at that, especially when it comes to Ilia Topuria, because it's also very, very important. But here we see, again, he's been dominating the jab. It's so easy for him to time here. Here he is getting the Russian parry, gets his head off the line, boom, gets him right here. Sean Strickland's jab is completely nullified just by Dricus being able to control it with his rear hand. He's reading his timing, he's reading his weight coming to the line over and over and over again. Just allows him free reign. And again, it's because he doesn't change positions. He doesn't fight orthodox and southpaw. He's only got one stance or one position, okay? Most people teach a stance, and again, having one stance, you can't have just one stance. You have to have a position on both sides of the line, okay? Now, Gets on the line, finally gets DDP to touch the jab. He tries to counter. And how do you counter a guy who's countering off of your jab? Right? He's trying to hit you real quick, so you're just going to hit him real quick. You're just going to throw a punch while he's throwing a punch, move your head, and throws a right hand over the top. Now, it's not a foolproof plan, right? Just because the guy has trouble getting out of position one because you can pin down his jab, right? Doesn't mean that it's always going to work. Sometimes he's going to get you with a right hand over the top because you're still beating a jab, right? It's still a very, very, I don't want to say basic tool, right? But it's very important for a reason, right? Look at all the different ways that he was able to set traps, or if he's setting traps, right? All the different ways that there are to attack the jab, right? Well, especially in MMA. But there's still so many other opportunities for Sean Strickland to fight out of that position, right? So many other ways for him to take advantage of those traps. He's just not very, if we talk a little bit more about Sean Strickland in particular, he doesn't really train. Okay, and that's like a really important thing. He's a guy, and that's like one of the problems with only sparring, right? He doesn't actually train. He doesn't shadow box really. He doesn't hit the bags really. He just does mitts sometimes, and that's what somebody else is telling him to do, right? And then spars, and that's what he gets to practice what he's doing. But then he's only going to be practicing the stuff that he's doing on the mitts, right? In which you can very clearly see. But right side of the line fighter, bladed stance. It's very, very, very shallow style, right? We have two blades, right? Being able to switch positions and all that stuff. And we're going to see a little bit of this crazy stuff here from this gentleman, Mr. Hall. But I included this clip here. This is like about 30 seconds of Ilia Topuria staying in one position here. He's going to keep his left shoulder forward, and his left hand is kind of in this weird space where he can't really block with it, right? But it's also not guarding his face. But he doesn't really use it to control space unless he's kind of jabbing or fake jabbing, right? He'll have some kind of let's move this up just a tiny bit so I can grab this bar here. But he's just going to follow him around. He doesn't change positions. He doesn't cross the line. He has a couple feints where he crouches down, but he doesn't really do anything for over 30 seconds. There's a massive amount of redundant sequences. And essentially, his opponent is allowed to choose exactly what position he wants to engage him with, which means he can use any tool. Okay? Ilia Topuria, for over 30 seconds, makes absolutely no attacks on the line. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but again, he follows this guy around. And then when he finally sits down to do something, do you know what the guy chooses to interact with him with? A spinning heel kick to the head. And Ilia Topuria still can't really interact with it. Okay, now this is very, very classic bladed stance fighting, right? He's not able to change positions, so he can't threaten his opponent with the rear hand without having to really change positions and exert and throw that shot hard. Okay, and that means that he's going to primarily be controlling space with the bladed left shoulder, right? Now, after all that stuff, all that, he chases, he walks down, boom, gets cracked. When we take a look at his defense, okay, he allows this guy literally just to throw a random punch and hit him. Okay, Ilia Topuria's head is so it's easy to read, it's easy to tell where it's going to go. But I want to point out, for all that time, he basically does nothing. And then as soon as he winds up, Hall jumps on his line and throws those punches. Ilia Topuria is able to let multiple hard punches go. Okay, now this is a very, very, very important idea when we think about the philosophy and the theory of why a fighter like Ilia Topuria is successful, right? Number one, well, we know he goddamn punches hard. We know he punches hard, right? So because of the fact that he punches hard, anytime he fights someone who's like at his skill level that does not punch as hard as him, he beats them, right? So how many people... and that also means that there's a range of people, a huge range, because if all he has to do is hit you one time to win the fight, a huge range of fighters who only have to make one mistake over the course of 25 minutes for him to possibly be able to capitalize on it. Which also means there's a huge range of fighters that are better than him, but because he has punching power, he can still beat them, right? So he's going to have all these flaws and still be able to hit you. But again, we want to think about the idea of DDP and his performance against Sean Strickland being an absolute virtuoso performance in how to fight a bladed stance fighter. Okay. Now, again, kind of just following him around with the lead hand. And again, walking straight into a left hand here from this guy. Okay. Now, Max is going to hit him with some clips very, very similar to this. But I want to point out the idea is, let's assume now that Ilia Topuria was fighting a guy who was as good movement-wise as this guy Hall, but let's also say he had as much power as Ilia Topuria. That means that Ilia Topuria likely just lost the fight right now, because if he fought a guy who hit as hard as he did but had better movement, he would be the worst fighter, right? Obvious, right? Oh, that's so obvious. But demonstrating here that this also demonstrates a massive lack of defense, right? Because he's so easy to hit that he wouldn't even pass the same standard, right? The level of fighter, he wouldn't even be able to beat that level of fighter that hits as hard as him, because there's so much, I'll say, the randomness of the 50-50, right? You couldn't even guarantee that he could beat it himself, right? Now, obviously, like, who can, right? But more importantly, just a guy who has a random amount of power that maybe doesn't have as good a movement as he does, right? Now, again, just following him around, not changing any positions. And these clips here are just so important because this guy literally just gives up his back. When we think about how good of a striker Ilia Topuria really is, when he puts himself in all these positions, how many times in any of your fights do you guys ever say, man, I hope the first thing that my opponent does when I get on the line with him is just start rolling at me? I could kick him in the face right here. I could kick him real hard in the body. I could start punching him in the head. He's going to move to this position here. I could stomp on his body here, right? I could start throwing punches in his face. But there's a reason that Ilia Topuria is not doing that, is because he relies on that bladed stance, that structure that he has to generate his power. He has to be in this little, his coil, his little cocoon, right? And that's why he doesn't have the versatility to be throwing punches when his opponent puts himself in these very bad positions over and over and over again. He's just not really prepared to be striking. Now, again, he follows this guy around the whole fight. The guy's circling, stepping around. If we think about a little bit of what DDP was doing, okay, moving around, interacting with the jab, controlling, again, boom, catches him with the shot here. Again, easy, rolls at him, gives him a barrel roll. Okay, but Ilia Topuria having a very, very difficult time pinning that guy down. Okay, and it's not because he's tall, right? Again, finds another free spinning back kick, just as he's right. And now take a look at this movement here from Ilia Topuria, very similar to Sean Strickland coming forward with the jab, and this guy slips out of the way of the direction of it and then turns it into a spinning back kick. Right? Again, so much of the movement, so much of the bladed stance from Ilia Topuria is a necessity for his style, because he has to jump and generate that force, that momentum to throw his punches as crazy as he does. Now, again, chasing this guy around, he can see his rhythm here. He can see that shot coming, the jab. And Ilia Topuria is not a guy that's super great at cutting the ring off. Again, giving him almost another barrel roll. Why isn't he able to follow that move up, kick him in the face or kick him in the legs? Now, he's getting schooled this whole time until he accidentally bumps into him. Okay, now when we take a look at the ending here, he just finally starts smashing him, and the guy doesn't wind up recovering. Okay, makes out of this position, bad position here, boom, boom, boom. I don't want to say like a fluke, right? But the guy wind up beating himself, right? Kinda. Now, we're going to take a look again here. Again, bladed stance. He's on the right side of the line, trying to fight with his left shoulder here. Cross the line a little bit. Boop. Gets hit here. Okay? Cross the line a little bit. Now, it's very interesting because we can see, right, him going over the top of the line here. Look at him bouncing here, and he goes down. You can't really throw a right hand when you make it to this position like this. okay, the way that he's bouncing, he's kind of having a little bit of trouble throwing that right hand in when you get to this position at the pace and the rhythm that he's moving, okay? As we can see, penduluming, bouncing, okay, getting timed as he slips to the front foot here. Now, he doesn't, even though we can see him kind of crossing to the left side of the line here, he doesn't actually fight from this position. He still has to initiate all of his offense, and as we go through these clips, I'm going to show you guys, he still initiates all his offense with the left shoulder. Okay, so in spite of the fact that we see him doing that move, and we will see him do the move that he's trying to set up and the move that he's trying to time, but he can't actually fight from that position. He's trying to do something else with it, though, and then, eats a shot, but this winds up being a massive problem with these bladed stance fighters because, again, he just can't fight on the left side of the line. He's fighting here again on the right side of the line, trying to make it across, pendulums. Again, look at his little bounce here. Boom, pendulums, gets to the front foot, boom. This guy, not a great striker, right? Mr. Herbert here, but almost hitting him with a three-piece here, right? He's not a great striker. If he was a better striker, he would very easily be able to land this right hand right over the top of Topuria. Topuria is not blocking here. His left shoulder is not guarding his chin. His left hand is not, and his arm is not blocking his head at all, right? His hand is always doing that goofy thing that's like kind of out in front of him for some reason. Now, jumping back on the line here, and we take a look, here's the move that he's trying to set up here. Right? He's trying to get on the line with that little bounce here, and he's trying to throw this right hand over a guy's jab, or if it winds up being a right hand. Now, he leaves that position here after throwing his own right hand, and he does this thing where he crosses the line after throwing his shot. Again, this is further evidence that he doesn't know how to fight on the left side of the line. As soon as he winds up making it to the left side of the line onto the front foot from throwing the right hand, he can't continue fighting from this position or stay in this position and defend this position. He does what I call falling off of the line and moving back to what would be his stance, right? If you were taught a traditional karate stance or an MMA stance, right? It's not a position, right? He's not fighting in the back foot position or the right side of the line, right? He's fighting in a stance, right? So he tries to get back to that stance and gets smacked by a left hook and then again chased. Here he is leaning straight back. He does wind up landing a left hook here, but take a look at him sticking that lead hand out there because, again, he doesn't know how to change positions. He only has a stance, so he's moving straight back with the pendulum step and gets cracked. Again, all of these massive, massive, massive flaws, how does he keep winning? Again, we got a bunch of clips to take a look at, but we're going to show you guys why he keeps winning too. Now, again, right side of the line. Slipping to the front foot, excellent shot. Boom, getting kicked in the face now. Now, after throwing that shot, right, his opponent predicts instead of throwing a left hook after the right hand, he throws a left kick because Topuria is going to fall off the line here anyway, but he doesn't wind up throwing a left hook as well, gets kicked. Now, it's 418 right here, right? Why is he so successful? He just got kicked in the face. He's been getting hit hard by bigger guys. Well, the dude, as they say in MMA, they always say it. I think it's kind of weird when they say the dude's a stud, whatever. But all this time in between, right, it's 128 in the round, the same round, has been spent wrestling, right? Just like Devin Haney when he was fighting Ryan Garcia and he got hit by that left hook, he just grabbed and wrestled all the time away till he was not hurt anymore, right? And then, boom, we were in the 7th round all of a sudden. But here he is, they let go, and here he is getting a knee in the face. And then they go back to striking on the outside. I don't want to show any wrestling and stuff, but he just holds him, stays in a favorable position the whole time. Now, here he is, again, bladed stance, fighting on the same side of the line all the time, almost eating a right hand. Now, Ilia Topuria throwing combinations here, leaving the line, bladed, doesn't actually block any punches with his left arm. In spite of the fact that he always fights on the right side of the line, he never uses his left arm for actual defense, right? Again, tall man's guard. If he's fighting anybody who's shorter than him, the likelihood that as he's pendulum stepping away when he runs away from the 1-2 like this and they catch him is very low, but anytime he fights anybody who's bigger than him, they're always going to get him, right? We're going to see that pretty clearly as we, again, go through the film study. And again, we don't always plan and train correctly to fight people who are taller than us, right? But we should. Now, throws this shot, and he gets the Russian the Russian parry off and throws the right hand. And I want to include these clips because we've seen him countering Herbert here a few times. Again, he's an incredible striker. He hits really hard. He's a really, really hard puncher. And anybody who's smaller than him is not going to be escaping these margins because he's so fast and he hits so hard. Even a guy that's piecing him up on the outside, like we saw when we get to Volkanovski, the film study, we're going to be taking a look at the Volkanovski stuff and what happens, you know, doesn't escape the margins, right? But again, Topuria is a really, really hard puncher, and sometimes he lets these combinations go, boom, boom, and he just keeps jumping and throwing punches. He's really, really dangerous when he gets to throw and have so much control over the line that any amount of control that this brute can get over the line, he uses all of that control to throw power shots. And again, like I've been saying on my channel for years, there just haven't been very many people who could just punch you one time and knock you out almost every position, every punch that they throw, right? But you can't let a guy control your line for more than one beat. You have to get off the line. And here's a great example of Ilia Topuria. He gets one good punch on you, so you have to fight him perfectly. You have to follow all the rules. I don't know if you guys have seen my little thing here. This is my little spiel about Fouts Boxing Academy, but check it out. It's $20 to sign up, or if you get a 1-year membership, it's like $13 a month. It includes all the film studies that I do for the UFC fights that I watch, also all the boxing. There's much, much, much more boxing, but I also coach professional MMA fighters. I teach striking for MMA. And I do personalized coaching, but if you want to join the academy, it's not personalized, I'm not going to be doing videos for you every day, but when you post stuff, I'm going to get to it. It's in the community. There are tons of people who are in the system that do have private coaching that help out, but it's a community. We talk about it. You post your stuff. I know people don't like posting their stuff, but here's the thing. If you have any hopes of being anything in the sport, you better be more afraid of those arenas and your opponent than you are of my critiques. Get over it. Don't be a pussy. Join the shit, send your shit in, let me tell you how bad you are and how you can get better. I guarantee, number one, I'm the first coach in history to be able to figure out all of how punching power works, okay? I'm one of the hardest punchers, pound for pound, ever. Ever. Not just alive, ever, okay? And I can teach you how to do it, all right? There's a link to one of the videos of one of my students in there training at Brick House, hitting the bag. He's not going super hard. But he hits really hard. He's really fast. Same student also with only one amateur fight using my combat system, sparring a professional who's 12-1 with 12 knockouts. We piece him up. The guy's a welterweight. My guy's like a 135-pounder. That guy's 6'1". My guy's 5'6". Okay, massive difference in height, massive difference in experience. Okay, and you can just see what the guy does with my system. Okay, anyway, all these things that I'm teaching and I'm talking shit about, okay, I've already solved all of these problems, okay? I've already solved them all. I have the best combat system on the planet. Again, if you're learning striking and boxing, there's over 100 unique drills. Again, all posted up for you guys to take a look at, to start practicing, to start drilling, to teach you how to improve your punching power, improve your fluidity, improve your anything that it is that you want to be improving. Okay. Anyway, blah 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 blah. It's I hate doing that shit. But yeah, guys like Ilia Topuria shouldn't exist in a few years. Okay. Now again, bladed. Now see him slipping to the front foot here. The jab's coming out again. That's basically like the only move, right, that he's trying to do. Now again, his opponent feels so comfortable here, right, because Topuria is not going to be just throwing that right hand, right? We saw him cross the line so many times. He could have thrown a right hand here. He could have controlled some space and thrown a right hand here, right? He could have thrown a leaping left hook out of this position, right? But again, he doesn't fight from this side of the line, so he leaves and he has to get back there, and his opponent's easily able to time him and walk him into this shot. Beautiful, beautiful knee by his opponent, by the way, Mr. Herbert. Now, again, a guy that's the same size as Topuria, a guy that's smaller than Topuria, that winds up kneeing Topuria in the face because he's a better fighter than Topuria, and then chasing Topuria down, he loses right here. Topuria knocks him out. He just knocked him out right now, right? A guy who doesn't have those margins of height, right? Again, these guys, you can do so many things wrong, right? But you finally hurt the guy and you got to capitalize. You can't just let this guy who's a monster puncher walk you down because you make one mistake over the course of 3 rounds, right? So it's a catch 22. Either you put the pressure on him because you're not going to be perfect and you think you hurt him and you might be able to capitalize and finish so that you can save yourself 10 minutes of possible mistakes in front of this monster, right? Or you say that was good enough. I'm going to probably win the round. I can take 10 more minutes of this guy stalking and hunting me. Okay, crazy, right? Again, Ilia Topuria doesn't have good defense, right? Doesn't actually wind up pulling, doesn't wind up doing the thing, doesn't wind up blocking the shot or even having his hand up in a position to make it very difficult for his opponent to find where he's going to launch that sucker, and then just smashes him. Now, still crazy dangerous, and again, there's a wide range of people who just punched Ilia Topuria in the face as hard as they could, boom, and then they just got knocked out. There's a wide range of fighters that just happened to them. Okay? Gets under that shot. Again, same thing. Right side of the line fighter. Makes it to the left side. Doesn't control any space. Doesn't do any moves. Again, penduluming right from the right side of the line. Again, all of his attacks from the right side of the line, even with those double jabs. Again, no real variation. Whoop, one of my students. Sorry about that, guys. Whoop, don't worry about that, guys. Stepping jab, stepping jab. Okay, right side of the line. And then again, here's his little right hand over the jab, gets kicked in the body. Again, most of what he's doing is very predictable, but I do want to point out, breaking into that right hand over the top again. Even though it starts, right, watch him pendulum, boom, right? He starts to cross the line from the right side to the left side to throw this shot. And again, there's still an opportunity to counter him, but also there's a wide range of fighters that he just slept. He just slept them. The guy jumped on the line to throw a kick at you, and you get to throw your right hand. Again, Herbert here, only surviving those sequences because he's tall, right? He also has a tall man's guard, taking advantage of the tall man's guard here, just smacking Topuria. Now, again, smaller fighters are not going to take the same level of comfort or the same level of experience, right? They're not going to see this shot as often as someone who's tall like Herbert, who's like, oh, obviously, oh, I'm so tall, and he can just see the shot over his shoulder, super obvious, right? But that shot is still there for a smaller fighter. The margin for error is just much smaller. And again, just following him around, chasing him with the jab, again, having a terrible time getting on the line with this guy, right? So how does he beat this guy? This guy's just clowning on him. There he is, trying to slip counter the jab again. Boop, got him. And again, he got him right there. Now, there's a wide range of fighters that don't make it past this jab, right? They throw that shot, they get timed here, good timing, lands the shot over the top, boom, got him, right? Fight's over. But Herbert survived because he's tall, no big deal, right? Not because he has good defense or good reaction there. Boom, again, same shot over the top, fighting the tall man's guard. Now, gets on the line, and why is this guy going to lose here? Psh, psh, psh. Well, he winds up letting Ilia Topuria throw multiple punches, right? Which eventually just allows him, even though he's pretty easy to predict, and all these shots miss, slip that one, gets his head off the line, doesn't get hit by the hook there, and then sits there. Didn't move his head after that. There's just another follow-up shot, and the guy just lets Ilia Topuria punch him in the face as hard as he can and goes out. Right? So letting Ilia Topuria, who gets stuck on the right side of the line, sit on your line and throw a bunch of punches at you. All right, now this is a very, very special clip. We've got Bryce Money Mitchell, okay? The striking GOAT himself, man. This fight is nuts, okay? Let's go ahead. I don't want to get copyrighted, so we're just going to grab this and kind of shoot forward, but he's going to be getting on the line here, disrupting him here with a little bit of a knee here, controlling him with the lead hand. Oh, here comes that left hand from the bladed stance. Oh, he easily sees it coming, gets in his Philly shell here. Ooh, pendulum's off the line, can't catch him. Easy work, right? Easy work. Now he's going to start circling, moving around, circling. Ilia Topuria is going to feint him, catches him, easy work, back to boxing, back to circling. Topuria can't find him, almost falls over, throwing a left hook, easily controlling the lead hand, right? We can see Bryce Mitchell very clearly reaching to control that lead hand. Again, Money Mitchell here, right? Showing you the best way to control the lead hand from Topuria. Well, letting off a rear hand probe, beautiful, under the possible follow-ups. Excellent work, right? If a guy like this, Money Mitchell, can do this, right? Again, just having his hand up in the way so he doesn't get hit cleanly. Controlling the lead hand again, blocking the rear hand, he's trying, right? Mostly interacting okay with seeing the shots coming, guarding the line. Again, this guy's not a great striker, but look at him. Topuria is having a very difficult time landing a shot against him. Ooh, ankle breaker. Now, if Money Mitchell was a real G right here, he could really mess him up, right? All right, we got a few more Money Mitchell clips here. Controlling this. Boom, boom, under that shot. Again, very, very easy for you to control space and get Topuria to punch with you, right? Spoiler alert, that's what he wants to do, right? Getting on the line with the shot here. Again, how difficult is it to get him to go first while he's shifting forward and falling? All right, so we're seeing some patterns here, right, of how people wind up being unsuccessful against Ilia Topuria, right? Now, Herbert didn't wind up paying for it when he followed him back and he would throw punches at him and Topuria would counter him. But here we can very clearly see massive cost of business. Boom, boom. As soon as he jumps on the line, Ilia Topuria smashes him. And again, this is one of those things that you have to be prepared for. This is one of those reasons why you have to be controlling and feinting. You have to be doing something to get your opponent out of position. You can't just jump on their line because you never know if you're fighting a guy named Ilia Topuria who can just spark you with one shot, right? And he's going to set those shots up. You're going to do all the work for him and jump on his line and let him just go ape shit and beat you up. I don't know. But putting pressure on him. And again, I want to point out that Bryce Mitchell is the one pressing forward here. Okay, he's the one putting pressure, right? Because Ilia Topuria was having such a difficult time putting pressure on him, right? Figuring out where the holes were. Again, controlling the lead hand, allowing him to throw a free kick at him, right? Where's the defense? Where's the counters from Mr. Topuria? Controlling the lead hand, getting in, shooting in. Again, where's the counters? Where's the attacks from Mr. Topuria? Now, check this out, guys. I wanted to include this clip because boom, boom. Look at how these hard, crazy hard punches, right? We've got Bryce Mitchell, who's putting on a clinic, boxing and circling and, doing all kind of crazy stuff, setting his shots up, slipping punches, and then all of a sudden he makes this weird, decision to shoot and get close to Topuria, even though he's winning the striking battle with the striker. He tries to get into position and gets close to him and gets bink, bink, right? What happened to Herbert? They had first contact. They had their first little war. Then Herbert sat on the line and let Topuria throw another combination, right? Got knocked out. Mitchell, for some reason, is looking to get close to Topuria instead of continuing to box him and keep the distance and do the same thing, right? So far, it doesn't make any sense. Back to controlling the lead hand, right? Gets him to step in with the jab, slips that shot, counters him with the rear hand. Again, Money Mitchell completely outboxing him, putting the pressure on him, catching him with a rear hand right here, again, in the middle of his pendulum step. Doesn't even have to go around the guard. He could still be hitting him with a combination here if he went 2-3, but catches him here. There's no defense with the left shoulder. He's not parrying the rear hand, right? And it's in the middle of a pendulum step. If he fought a guy who had punched as hard as he does, he'd lose the fight, right? Again, Money Mitchell putting all the pressure, controlling the lead hand better tactically. Again, look at him. Easy parry right there. And now again, check this out. All-time great mistakes. He's the defensive fighter. And here he is using a stepping jab that easily gets parried by his opponent, right? Again, Bryce Mitchell is not I mean, is our striking GOAT right here? Is he the greatest all time? Look at him completely dominating Topuria on the line. Look at how lethargic he looks. Same timing, again, catching him with a free shot, right? Topuria doing all the work for Bryce Mitchell right here, crossing his line for him, boom, allowing him to smash into him with his structure. Again, if he fought a guy that hit as hard as he does, he loses, right? Again, same guard, right? Circling, penduluming around. Again, the lead hand gets shot right over the top of because he has a tall man's defense, a tall man's guard. Even though he's fighting a guy who's taller than him, he's using a guard that's bigger than him. Now check this out. Look at his defense. Bah, hits again, hit again, kicked in the face. He just gets annihilated right here. He literally makes Bryce Mitchell look like a goat right here. Bop, 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 bop. Hits him with everything but the kitchen sink. Again, this guy's defense. How good is this guy? Bryce Mitchell was painting a masterpiece on him right there. Again, literally no defense. Literally didn't even try. Again, controlling that lead hand, right? Not leaving any free avenues. Now, again, getting stuck on Ilia Topuria's line, almost letting him get a shot off for some reason, instead of just piecing him up on the outside, keeping the space, 1-1. Very, very dangerous. Uh-oh. What happened? Well, he jumped onto Ilia Topuria's line, boom, boom, and stayed there for like 3 beats, and allowed Ilia Topuria to throw 3 punches at him and catch him finally with that last shot. And Ilia Topuria is going nuts, right? Ilia Topuria is throwing 3 hard, vicious punches in a row, right? Wow. And he finally gets him with one. He had to stay on his line that long, and Mitchell doesn't recover here. Okay, he winds up losing the fight, getting beat down a little bit. Now let's take a look at some of the Joshua Emmett Smith. Take a look at the defense. Okay, tall man's guard here. We can see he's penduluming in front of this guy. His lead hand is extended. There's a massive hole around his rear hand here, right? There's no guard here. So many holes. He could be even hit to the liver. Absolutely terrible place to be holding either of his hands, right? This is 6 seconds into the fight. He doesn't even look like he's warmed up. Penduluming forward. Now when he pendulums, lands, hit with a combination. Again, he's got a tall man's guard, right? Barely gets out of the way of this, right? Makes Emmett use a lot of energy right there. Doesn't actually get paid off, okay? Again, tall man's guard pays off right there. But one side of the line, he looks to step onto the line again, gets timed right here, and almost countered over the top. Again, if he was fighting a guy who was as big as him, right? I don't know if they're the same size. I think Topuria might be just a tiny bit bigger than him, but I think Topuria is like actually kind of tall. Is he like 5'9"? I don't know. But I think Josh Emmett is kind of small. I'm not going to do any research on that right now. I could pause the video and like go look, but I don't care that much. But these tiny little inches, right? And again, terrible defense. The inches don't matter right there. Emmett finally puts up manages to break down the distance and get close enough to throw that shot over the top of this lazy guard, this bad guard. He's not even trying to defend himself. He's just moving straight off the line, trying not to use any energy, right? But again, all these problems with fighting on the blade, right? Again, can't cross the line. He has to pendulum to get into range, gets interacted with immediately. Same thing. Again, penduluming onto the line, and it's so easy to read his movement because he has to fight on one side of the line. He doesn't have any tricks. Now, again, what's going to happen to a guy who's smaller than him and the same size and all this stuff, you know? He hits really hard. He beats these guys, right? The guy takes a stepping jab. He gets a Russian parry. He still hits really hard, fast. And boom! Hits him with a little rocket right there, right? Still right side of the line fighter. Right side of the line fighter, a little stepping jab there. Now, Emmett doesn't get him here, right? But has the same basic principle, the same basic idea. Again, he's not as good of a striker. But again, People wind up sitting on his line and letting him throw combinations here, and he is crazy dangerous. Crazy dangerous when you sit on the line with him. Again, moving his head off the line for that shot, following up. Again, tall man's guard, barely making him miss, and we've seen how that doesn't work for him. Now, this is really cool because he follows him back from that shot, right? Boom, he throws his stepping jab, and then he chases him back, right? And he jumps off the line and then comes back with the 2 right here. We're going to see some like kind of cool little sequences with that here. Look at him controlling the lead hand. And then again, he makes it very, very obvious when he's coming in. All-time great mistake because he always has a stepping jab as well. He's always fighting from the right side of the line. Russian parry, boom, smack. And again, sits on the line. And again, this is one of those things that people just make this huge mistake, is sitting on the line with Topuria for multiple beats, allowing him to just go boom, 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 right? Joshua Emmett right there wind up, I'll say, being kind of lucky there, not getting hit. But we also know that he doesn't win this fight. Throws the 1-2, jumps on the line while his opponent is circling, finally cuts off the ring, throws the shot, boom, boom, and then doesn't move his head, falls off the line, doesn't defend his position, but just tries to move back to his stance, whack, and gets smacked. Again, if he was fighting Ilia Topuria himself, he would have lost the fight, right? Also, when you jump on Ilia Topuria's line and you throw a 3 like this, it's the same thing as throwing a stepping 1. He has the right hand over the top, boom, boom, right? So again, even this very fast attack, he's throwing it from the right side of the line, bop. He still has to cross the line. It's not that hard to time it because it's just a 1-2 timing, all right? Whack. Again, this is all the exact same stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Now again, finally finds an opportunity, goes first, gets countered, jumps off the line-ish, pulls. Emmett's following up, bing, 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 to follow up with a combination when his opponent gets on his line. Right? So again, one of those things that people are making a mistake of sitting on the line of Ilia Topuria and, fighting him. Again, he's not very good circling and moving around and on first contact, right? Very easy to see all the things that he's doing coming. But if you sit on the line with him for too long, his hands are just too fast. He just boom, 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 boom. Now again, Joshua Emmett here, as Topuria comes forward, gets his weight forward, and see him parry the jab. Multiple attempts at parrying it, controlling this hand. Again, all those beats there, we know that he's still vulnerable, right? Topuria is still vulnerable over that left shoulder, taking his pendulum walk here, getting to the front foot here. Again, if a guy just throws a right hand right over the top of that, smash. He's just not in a position to defend it. Okay, we still have quite a few clips to go. Oh my goodness, 48 minutes in. We got like half the clips done. Again, tall man's guard. Is that a good defense, guys? Do we not agree that it's bad? Boom. Pull. Boom. Controlling the jab. Again, pendulum, stepping around. And again, where's his active guard? How often does he cross the line? Jumping onto the line. Boom, boom, boom. Again, terrible defense. How is this guy winning fights? Right? How is he winning fights? Well, he's always the puncher, right? He's not fighting guys. I mean, Joshua Emmett slapping him here to set up the right hand. Boom, boom. Getting him again. Again, not very difficult, right? There's just not that much abundance to the different types of styles of moves that Topuria uses. Now, he takes a big step right here, and he's actually penduluming onto Topuria's line here, and then Topuria catches him, boom, boom, right? Again, very dangerous to actually close the distance against Topuria. Crazy, dangerous. But as we can see, if you don't make that mistake, he's very limited. Now, round 1, 142 left. He didn't let the whole round go, where he just let Emmett clown on him and move around and do all kinds of stuff before he started attacking the legs. So he didn't sacrifice the whole round. So pretty high IQ, transitioning away from the boxing into the leg kicks to slow Emmett down. But Emmett jumps on the line, boom, controls him with the little slap here, and then moves his head off the line. Again, Topuria, very predictable, right? What move is he going to do right here? Well, what's he going to do? What position is he in? right? He just doesn't have very much variance in the moves that he's going to use, and he winds up being very easy to beat on first contact, to outplay. Again, very, very, very rare that he'll throw this shot here, but pendulum, off the pendulum, throws the rear hand, again, gets picked off really easily. And again, what's that all-time great mistake? After he throws a rear hand, he's going to fall off the line. He's no longer going to be fighting. He's going to try to change positions without doing something, and then again just leaves, whack, and gets basically kicked in the face, right? Very, 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 very tiny, boom, boom, kick in the face right here, okay? And again, massive flaw right there. It's a flaw that you usually only get away with when you're the one knocking everyone out, or you're just bigger than everybody. They can't hit you in that position anyway. Again, easy to time, same move, boom, boom. Again, one punch at a time here. Very, very dangerous to be getting on the line here with Topuria. And for some reason, I do think, like, Emmett with some good traps and stuff, I just don't think that it's in his best interest to be doing stuff like that. And, for whatever reason, I think people think that, like, oh, I can time him, I can do the thing, and they get, like, comfortable beating him on the outside, and then they just don't really expect him to have that combination, right, to be as accurate with it, because everything seems, on the outside to be so easy to deal with, easy to see coming, and then all of a sudden it's just three of the craziest, fastest, hardest punches. But again, no positional changes, just following him around. Whoop. Everything that he does on a surface level is very easy to see coming. And again, walks right into an overhand right, straight right hand lands right there. I can't tell if he's landing his hook here, but he's getting hit by the right hand. Okay, maybe he's landing his left hook too. But again, if they're not the same size, right, and this is a smaller guy than him, we saw what was happening with Herbert when he was doing it. Okay, again, getting under this shot, and then a combination here, and then hooking him here. Again, stepping with these punches here, and again, doesn't know how to get off the line here. Winds up eating a free shot. Again, all these are the hallmarks of a bladed stance, right? Now, this is a weird fight because, again, how do people wind up losing to Topuria, right? Jumping on his line and letting him just freely throw a combination, trying to tie him up. They get hit with huge punches. But it's mostly just sitting on his line too long, right? He loses basically all of first contact. Again, look at Volkanovski reaching for the jab. And on the same timing, reaching for the jab there, transitioning out of it into a kick, right? But already you can see in this small clip, looking to control and interact with both hands, right? And then set up his shots and really school Topuria. Again, easily parrying the lead hand. Again, getting off the line, stealing a kick here. Again, Topuria is so behind on first contact against Volkanovski here. Again, using his double jab, everything basically gets controlled, right? He doesn't find any openings where he's like, yeah, I'll take advantage of it. Getting kicked again and disrupted. And the kick one is very interesting too because it doesn't even wind up having to be all that relevant. Now, again, I want to point out, only almost 2 minutes have gone by. He's already transitioning away from trying to hit Volkanovski with his hands, right? But you can clearly see he starts audibling for the kick and he's like, okay, this isn't going exactly how I want it. He doesn't wait too long and let it really affect him and fall too far behind on the cards before he starts doing something, which is smart, right? But again, it's because everything he does is so easy to read. Now, again, he jumps completely on Volkanovski's line here with this shot. Volkanovski's not getting hit with this shot. He's parrying what would be this shot, but it's not actually a punch. And then he kind of rolls away from this shot here and then gets a kickoff. It's kind of a bullshit kick. But more importantly, we have Ilia Topuria blasting onto his line and not getting any value and really not affecting Volkanovski at all. Again, very, very, very easy to read all of his movements. He's having a very difficult time chasing Volkanovski down and getting value because he can't feint very well. That's basically his only feint. And again, double jab, boom, boom, no value. kicked in the leg here. And Topuria, again, look at, as soon as he starts coming to the line, Volkanovski looks to parry that lead hand, not allow him to hit him with that shot and disrupt his line. Doesn't feel comfortable going, disrupt it again. And again, for no really good reason, Topuria should be able to smash him, but getting dominated on the line, smacked, right? Again, Topuria, when he moves to that front foot, unless he's actually specifically countering that punch, he doesn't really fight from this position very well. So he kind of moves into this position mostly superfluously, right? Doesn't have the ability to chain anything off of it. Again, crossing the line for nothing, gets hit for free with a combination. Now, Volkanovski almost sits on his line too long, but very important. Penduluming onto the line, boom, gets hit, right? Again, what's the most dangerous thing that you can do is just sit on Topuria's line and let him throw punches. Now, again, real quick, Volkanovski, Philly shell crap, right? Tall man's guard, gets punched in the face by Ilia Topuria. What happens, right? It's only a minute in, and he's just getting chased down. He didn't even have to stay on the line with Topuria right here for Topuria because he's smaller, right? For Topuria to be able to start blasting punches. Again, tall man's guard. When you're the shorter guy, you guys, right? Now, real quick, tall man's guard, but he is still parrying that jab, right? Don't use that. It's bad, guys. But Topuria falling off balance a little bit there. Now, again, Topuria making it to the front foot here, right? See him checking the line here. And then Volkanovski's like, oh, you're going to do that shit again? Tries to make it to the front foot. Boom! Catches him again. Again, if he was fighting a guy that punched as hard as he did, he would lose the fight, right? Again, most dangerous thing you can do, sit on his line, right? And again, he barely gets off the line from that shot there. Control. Boom, pushes him off. Good trap there from Topuria, but good recovery from Volkanovski getting off the line. Where's your goddamn punches, Topuria? Why don't you follow up right there? Come on now. Easily seeing, again, all of Topuria's offense coming. Again, Volkanovski, even being a shorter fighter, getting under this shot here, bodying up with him, almost getting the takedown, but he's so strong. He's so much bigger than him, right? But again, Topuria not having very much success, right? Everything that he does is very easy to force out. It's easy to make him attack because what is he going to do from here? Oh, is he going to throw a jab or is he going to throw a right hand? Well, both of them are going to come to the same place. Both of them are going to come basically at the same angle from here, right? So you just have to move your head, right? But there's nothing sneaky about it, right? You just got to move out of the way. Boom. Counter. Again, easy to get him to go. Counter. Get him to go, right? And again, Topuria always blasting, always throwing these crazy rockets, right? Can't use his right hand to feint and probe at all. He can't control any space with that punch except when he's throwing rocket power punches, right? Easy to time, easy to feint, easy to get him out of position, right? Volk right here recognizing he's doing the job of crossing the line for him while Topuria is moving his head. And again, getting him out of that position. Bink. Just walking him into this shot again, right? Again, the overshifting from the rear hand of Topuria because he's always throwing that as a rocket. Easy to time. Volkanovski is dominating him on the line right now. Okay? There's just nothing that Topuria can do. Stealing a little kick right here. What do you do when people kick you? Boom! Right? Kicking people is very dangerous if the guy can see the weight coming and he can see you getting on the line with him. Boom. Shifting, coming forward. Again, no defense. Boom. And again, playing around on the line, right? Easily dominating Topuria, not letting Topuria get planted and choose when he can throw his random 1-2, right? Boom. Boom. Again, couple stepping jabs from Volkanovski, right? And again, having a very difficult time sneaking up on him. He tries to feint him here. Oh, catches him again. Volkanovski still with his little tall man's guard, right? Letting him cross the line, but it doesn't even matter if he crosses the line because he doesn't really throw right hands. Oh, boom. Except to counter the kicks, right? And sometimes to throw the counter the jabs, but as a counter, not as a proactive move. Again, not as a proactive move, making it to the front foot. No rear hand. Not as a proactive move. Still waiting for that jab to come out like it's a punch. Now here it is, right? Boom, jab. parry-ish, right? I mean, it's not a good parry, we know, but he's pulling out of the snapping zone, right, of that shot. But again, Volkanovski getting Topuria to throw that shot for free. I don't know if you guys remember, again, parrying the jab. I don't know if you guys remember the look on Topuria's face after he knocked jab, kicked in the leg, after he knocked Volkanovski out, but he almost immediately threw his hands in his face and started sobbing. Like he knows he got out of this, right? Again, tries to make a break onto his line, taking a step on the front foot, boom, gets timed. Excellent timing there from Volkanovski. Pendulum walk from Topuria, tries to get on the line, slipping jab, again, throwing that shot. Just fast enough, but he's still pulling away from it, counter. Again, Volkanovski's playing with them. He's toying with them on the line here. Control, shifts, throws the jab. Topuria pulls, slips, and he comes forward, throws a 2 to the body, 3 up top, 2 over the top, and now Volkanovski finds himself in a position where he's actually sitting on the line with the bull. And then the bull's just going to throw punches. He's just going to let the heat go. And again, if you're on the line with a guy who can knock you out with one punch and you stay on the line with him, expect to get knocked out. Volkanovski finally finds himself in a position where he can't find a way off the line, doesn't wind up making it off the line, and winds up going to sleep. And again, I do just want to point out, he was very successful the whole time, all the way up until the point where he got knocked out, at not getting knocked out. Okay? Now again, here comes Topuria out here, the bull, right? He knows that he needs these guys to come to him. He knows this already. That's his best shot at winning a fight. So he wants to go out here and be like, yeah, come out. It's not really a joke, even though he knows that Mac's not going to accept. And Max knows too, right? Max puts his little Brahma bull like little fucking hands out, like he's waving the cape. Now, Max controls the lead hand, and then fights off of it. Again, bladed stance warrior, right? The guy has no control over the line. He basically gets stuck on the right side of the line, boom, boom. Fighting a taller guy, his strategy doesn't really work, right? Because he's so easy to read. Everybody's going to have these margins on him. We know that it does work because he winds up knocking Max out. I know. But everything that he does right here is very easy for Max to read. Now, again, what's Max doing? He's controlling the lead hand. He's just going to stifle that hand here, boom, kick him in the leg, and then hope to get off the line after, right? Just not sit there on the line with Topuria and let him throw bombs at him. Now, he throws this shot here, this right hand, and again, it's very, very easy to read. He's all the way on left field. He has to get on the line. He has to cross. His head has to make it to the left side. Boom! Max cracks him right here. Look at the time. It's 3:41. Ilia Topuria, immediately after that shot, tries to take Max down. So the last 30 seconds, Topuria has been trying to wrestle, kick, counter. Okay, again, a very, very similar thing. When he throws the shot, he tries to move back to his original stance, crossing back across the line, just as if he had thrown a right hand, breaks the rules of what I call the track theory, okay, and gets smacked. Again, this is one of those moves, again, that Ilia Topuria uses in the fight when he realizes that his boxing sucks, so he can slow a guy down when he's behind. Okay, when he's the guy that's getting pieced up because everything he does is thrown, right? If you were a beginner in boxing and a guy, when you've got that girl who comes in the gym, that one girl, and she does everything the coach says exactly like the coach says it, and she sucks. But she does everything like the coach says, does the stepping jab, throws it out. There's no power. It's flick, 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 right? And she can flick, 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 and throw the right hand, and the right hand is a flick, and it's a thing, and it's doing all and she sucks for some reason. But she's doing all the stuff on the right side of the line. That's Ilia Topuria. And when you realize that, she's coming through with the same jab every time, the same stepping jab, ha, 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 and the right hand comes right after, and you block that shit, ha, and it's easy, and then you piece her up, and then she has to kick you in the leg because her style sucks, right? Because it doesn't actually work that way, because it's predictable. It's so easy to see, right? So Topuria moves to his leg kick, and he breaks a lot of rules after landing the leg kick because he's a power puncher. He doesn't have any finesse. He doesn't know how to set anything up. So he just kicks the leg, boom, falls. He lands the leg, falls out of position, right? Doesn't have any post punch defense for his kick, and then Max Holloway immediately punches him in the face, right? So far, I've shown you guys that it's not that difficult to outbox him. And here it is. It's not very difficult to take away the tool that he uses after you outbox him. Right? Just punch him in the face after. He can't do anything because he doesn't have any bounce. He's throwing a little leg kick. It's predictable that he's going to throw it because his boxing is bad. And if you don't sit on his line, eventually he's going to try to kick you in the leg so that he can slow you down. Now, again, Max Holloway is controlling the lead hand. The rear hand starts coming forward. It's easy to see the weight coming. So he's pulling back, tall man's guard, but it's, he's seeing the timing. He'd get him anyway. Needs him in the body. Massive punch or a massive attack here. Really, really, really good. Now, again, what's the mistake that everybody makes? They just try to flood Topuria's line instead of completely outboxing him, instead of money Mitchelling him, right? And then, boom, he just gets cracked for no reason. No reason for that to happen. You don't need to chase this guy. He's going to give you enough free points because he fights in all the basic positions. Now, again, the guy tries to do a double jab and gets smacked by a left hook. He's just trying to pendulum forward here, jab, pendulum, boom, gets smacked. Very, very basic technique. It's really, really easy. If somebody does this move in front of you, just punch him in the face. Sees it coming a mile away. You just got to trust in your instincts. Hit him one time, get off his line. Don't let him follow up, and you're golden. Right? Money Max right here. Now, Max is in the position controlling the jab. Topuria tries to bust across the line. For whatever reason, Max doesn't change positions because Max is actually not a positional fighter. He's also, I don't want to say a bladed stance fighter, but he always fights with his weight on the front side of the front leg, right? He's always stuck there, so he doesn't actually transition his weight to the back foot, eats the shot, but he is trying to land the hook as well. But again, Topuria right there having a very difficult time landing punches. But here, look at this combination right here. Do you guys know why Max survived? Because he's like 6 feet tall, because he's so big. A guy who's 3-4 inches shorter than this, Topuria annihilates him. Boom, 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 boom. Would have caught him for sure. There's almost no margin there that a smaller guy lets Topuria throw that amount of punches at him and survives, right? Again, surviving because he's the tall guy. Controlling the jab, easy work, parry, counter, right? Just in case the right hand comes. But again, everything that he's doing on the line, so easy and predictable. Walks right into a straight right hand. Boom, boom, combination. Again, he's trying to attack the leg here. Bop, bop. And again, the only reason that Max is safe, right, is because of these margins. Because he's so tall. Right? A smaller fighter can't do this to Topuria because Topuria is still throwing these freaking heaters, man. But again, if you just don't allow him to get into a position to throw these heaters, right? Now again, round 2, they come out. Look at the amount of control that Max has over the line. Look at the position that Topuria is in. He can't even make it across the line. He's not even trying. He wants to be staying on that side of the line coiled. And look at him, walks right into a right hand, just like we've been saying was going to happen to him eventually. Someone's going to do it to him eventually, right? It winds up being Max, who has a major advantage over him. Sure, why not? Okay. But he still does it, right? Very important. Coming forward, again, that lead hand's on lock, right? There's just nothing he can do. Tries to rush and parry the jab. Oh, pulling off that shot. Boom. Right? Again, there's just nothing sneaky that Topuria is doing, right? So again, how's Max going to lose this one, guys? Catches him with the hook again, smashing him with that shot. Again, he has no game, right? He's going to move to that front foot and what? Can he fight from this position? No, he has to hope that a jab comes and he gets to throw it over the top already, but he winds up just shifting his weight into the front foot and then force pendulum, doesn't even move his head. Again, Max has complete control over the line. Dominating him, keeping Topuria on the back foot. As soon as he starts to cross, Max, because he has so much control over the line, he can choose when he starts throwing the jab, right? He doesn't have to worry about Topuria's jab as Topuria approaches because he has it controlled with his, and it allows him to just peck at him, right? I know he's not getting him yet. I know. But Topuria is stuck on that side of the line. Crosses the line. Boom. Is he going to punch him? No, he didn't punch him. But again, very, very, very few ways. And we saw, even though he threw that leg kick right there, he still had to cross the line with his head, right? Woo. Countered. Again, Max only makes it right there because he's a tall fighter, though. Again, dominating that control of the line right there, right? Catches him with a left cross himself. I think they're kind of trading punches right there. Not great. But again, Max also flawed, right? But has complete control of Ilia Topuria, the very, very dangerous Ilia Topuria, just by keeping his rear hand on the line. And Topuria just cannot find a way onto the line. All right, we're coming to a close. We got about maybe 10 more clips or 15 more clips to go. But again, stepping jab, I want to say, decent, right? Because again, Max has his rear hand in a position to catch Topuria's jab if Topuria brings his weight to the line. But Topuria is so far away on his back foot that it'll be really easy to read his jab from this position. So he just takes a step into his stepping jab here and allows Topuria to blitz into a little lower kick here. Thought that was pretty nice. Stepping jab again, but Max has complete control over the line unless Topuria wants to do something very explosive, right? But again, very easy. Boom, just steals that kick, parries the jab right there, and then moving his head out of the way of the rear hand. It's like kind of getting him here, right? But the margins are very small. Again, a guy who's not as tall as Max is not surviving this sequence, right? They're going to get hit by a guy like Topuria if they're the same size, or he's smaller than him and he's going to knock him out, right? But so far, everything that he's doing, right? Now catching him with a really good shot here. Again, for whatever reason, Max would just get stuck in that position here and eat this shot. Not sure why exactly, because he has such great control of the lead hand there, right? And again, getting his head off the line here to counter with his hook. Misses the hook counter, but again, sitting on the line here, boom. Okay, the only time that he's really dangerous is after first contact, if you sit on the line with him and just let him throw a lot of punches at you. Again, you just can't really let him do that to you. Bink, bink, catching him all fight long. Again, he has no protection of his kick. He can't block after he kicks. He can't defend his kicks. And again, all-time great mistake fighting Ilia Topuria, jumping onto his line, right? Here he is slip countering with the right hand, bah, bah, right? And again, that's when he's the most dangerous, right? Is when you're jumping on his line, you let him throw a bunch of punches when he's already planted. And again, smacking Max with that huge shot over the top. Again, Max, tall man's defense, right? Slip in that shot right there. And then again, slipping to the front foot. He could throw a right hand there. Right? But he has to jump in, bladed style. Pooh, pooh. Again, just completely incapable of fighting on the left side of the line. And again, getting countered here after throwing his rear hand there. He does still make contact. Again, Max surviving that sequence because he's got a tall man's guard. Again, a little bit of active guard here. Throws his rear hand, gets his head off the line at the same time. Both Max and Ilia are doing this, but I just want to show, again, it's just not that hard to box Topuria on the outside. Move your head a little bit, have an active guard, right? Control the jab, right? He's very, very limited. Again, Max dominating him on the line here with the control. Again, keeping that rear hand on him. And again, boom, parry. Misses the parry still, right? Boom, boom. But again, that tall man's guard. Max catching him here, even though they're close range. He's not even having to be tall here, right? A mistake like this against Josh Emmett might have cost him, right? Or if he was fighting Ilia Topuria, right? That's not a mistake that you get to make in front of Ilia Topuria, right? Now, I wanted to include this one. This is such an anomaly. It's one of the only ones that he does this, makes it to the front foot, and then blitzes out into the right hand here, and into the hook. And again, you just can't let this guy throw more than one punch at you because he's going to put you out, right? Look at the dominant control that he has over the line here. Again, because Topuria is not even good at fighting from this position. Because of the fact that he needs to be exploding and throwing that jab and using this his left arm from the blade stance, so he can't just snap into his right hand. This is a very dominant position over him. He can't actually make an attack like this and touch you because he's so far on the back foot. He's so far bladed. He's so far away. His right hand is so far away from what he's doing. It's really easy to control him here. He has to be very explosive to make it out of that position. Not that he can't, because spoiler alert, that's like his whole game, right? But again, how often have you ever seen anybody get this much control over a guy striking, right? Especially a guy as dangerous as Ilia Topuria? And Max Holloway's just fearlessly gripping and grabbing his hand. Get out of here, son. Get out of here, son. Don't come over to my line. Get out of here, right? Again, it's just not that difficult to control Topuria, right? I'm not saying you don't have to be good. Boop, boop, boop. Again, multiple avenues here. Kicks, gets punched in the face, then has tall man's guard, gets hit over the top. Again, multiple of those little flaws all compiling right there. Now, again, getting real close. Good control, and he's going to let him punch him in the face here. Again, for some reason, Max would get hit here in that position quite often, and I don't think he's going to survive here. Oh, that's it. And that's it. He doesn't survive. He allows him get on his line here. Winds up landing that shot. Doesn't change positions with him. Tall man's guard as he's shifting-ish. Whoop. But people underestimate, Topuria by sitting on his line after, by letting him get close. But everyone basically completely pieces him up on the outside. Josh Emmett is an outlier. That's a pretty close fight, actually. Topuria does get tired and slow down at the end. But DDP proved that anyone who fights in a bladed stance can be beaten. That the stance is not dynamic enough. He was completely able to shut out Strickland. Now, Strickland doesn't punch like Topuria, right? And Strickland still was able to catch DDP sometimes, but he's just not as explosive as Topuria is. And there's less room for someone who's as hard hitting or soft hitting for as there's less room at the top for someone like Sean Strickland, who's as soft hitting at the championship level, as there is for someone who hits as hard as Topuria, right? Again, he punches hard, guys. He's just a shitty fighter. His styles just sucks. Okay? A guy like, Volkanovski, as cocky as he is, he's still going to struggle fighting that guy no matter what. But notice, every single time he fought Max Holloway, he did better and better and better, shutting him out, right? He could completely do that to Ilia Topuria. He has enough experience fighting someone with those types of advantages, right? Where those types of angles, where that type of margin is present, right? He just, has to do it the whole 25 minutes against him. Now, all that said, anybody who can wind up at hitting as hard as Ilia Topuria but control the jab as well will just beat him. Okay? And if you guys want to learn punching power, check out my punching power system in the description. It's a power punching lesson and then a bunch of other lessons and stuff too. But it's a pretty cool little thing, guaranteed to teach you punching power and how punching power works. Okay? And, all the easiest ways to train it, but not just make your best punch better, but actually teach you how to improve your punching power. And if you stick consistent, turn you into a great striker. Okay. I've completely solved the formula. There's no reason to say anybody's born with it anymore. I did it. Okay. But yeah, also, if you guys want to learn that stuff, but you want to do it again, you guys can learn it in the packages by yourself. There's the power punching one that's completely dedicated to punching power, and then there's the Fouts boxing combat system, which will teach you how to weaponize what Bruce Lee called the 1-inch punch, but it'll teach you how to weaponize that structure and that theory to throw your best 1-inch punch hooks and straight punches. Or you can join the Discord, which will teach you all of that stuff at 20 bucks a month or $13 a month for a year subscription. Or you can get private coaching for 400, and I'll teach you privately. You'll still get access to the Discord, um, and all the film studies and stuff. But it's a way cooler experience, and yada yada yada. Anyway, see you guys.